concept of team, right? A duo. In this case, this piece doesn't exist without him. The piece doesn't exist without you. It only exists with both of you, right? And that's just always an important part of why we acknowledge our collaborative artists. Thank you. Thank you for playing. Terrific. Thank you. And of course, it's a reduction, but you know, reductions are notoriously challenging for pianists generally. There's just too much information oftentimes depending on who did the reduction. You know, if it was the composer or someone else, a third party. But in this case, this is a piece that has quite a precedent for being played as a, you know, as a recital piece, right? People might not even think of it as a concerto, really. There are other pieces where it's much more obvious in production. So when you think of this piece and what its challenges are, it's quite different than maybe some other pieces you possibly have worked on before. So tell me what year you are.
I'm a freshman.
Freshman? Okay, great. Good for you. Wow. Stay out and play this and do what you're doing. Fantastic. When I think of the Ibert, I don't think of that as typically a freshman piece. You know? There are so many places where the Ibert is a very challenging piece for every level, whether it's a graduate student, certainly freshman. Part of why this piece is so hard is because you cannot hide. You can't hide. It sits on a constant grid of 16 notes that are unchanging. There are those little cadential moments where time starts to relax, as we set up a section. There's certainly plenty of that. But this is music where you can't hide. Or it's music where if in this case, if he's having to like adjust to you because of something that goes wrong, okay, then it really can be rattling to the concentration of what he's trying to navigate. He's got more responsibilities than you do. You have a single line. Okay. So that's challenging. So when we start to work on this piece, we start to work on the Ibert pieces like it. We have to really have total accountability of the rhythm of time, but every single 16 note has to be in its place. So as you're working out all of this, whatever's challenging, you've got to make sure that even though this was a performance today, it's still in progress, right? It's in progress for a greater goal. Maybe a jury, maybe a recital, it's in progress for a greater goal. It's okay to play a little slower sometimes if something's really giving you trouble. We don't have a lot of time, so I'm putting a little timer on everybody. I don't want to burden Dr. Youngblood with always having to stop me, but so I apologize if the timer goes off and we're mid-stream here, mid-thought. I'd like you to, let's start one more time, very beginning here. You're doing a wonderful job. I don't have too many things to say, but I think we should talk a little bit about these really important points of entrances, essentially. Number one, that's one of the scariest moments, the very first entrance, right? I would like you to conduct while he plays. So here's a question, in that empty bar you see right there, what's his rhythm?
All 16 notes.
Are you sure about that?
No.
No.
I was taking a guess in the dark.
What's his first note?
I don't know. So.
His first note is a rest. Okay? So can you mark that in your part right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's okay. Very nice. So the music starts on a syncopated second 16th note. Da 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 da. Okay. So in many cases, I mean, if the conductor is giving that, there's a sniff on the downbeat. Da 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 da. Okay. Now, what's your degree? Performance, music education. You're going to conduct, and you'll have to conduct these type of things, these kind of agogic entrances, these placed silences that set up the next rhythm. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. It's a very famous piece that starts that way in the canon of classical music. Very famous piece. Very famous piece. Da 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 da. What is it?
Beethoven's Fifth.
Beethoven's Fifth. Good job. Okay. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. You know, it starts in this active place. So conductors, if they're giving silence and they respond. That's what's happening here. That's what would happen in an orchestra. So it will help maybe as a rehearsal moment. You go and one, like you're going to give the head nod as that correct, just so he sees that. Then I want you to conduct along with him while he's playing. Okay. Just by knowing exactly what that is. So the 5/8, so in your part, write 16th rest and then 3/16 and then 4 separate 16ths. Sorry. There you go. Yeah. It's okay. Okay, now 2, 3, 4. Yeah, now another group of 4. Okay. And then the 5, it's grouped as 2 plus 3, correct? So his 5/8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, right? So how would we mark that above your bar?
2 is 3, or 2 to 3.
Like if it was me and I was to sing it as a conductor, I would write dash as a duple and a triangle as a 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Does that make sense? While he's playing concert 16s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, that helps you. Then you hear that solid downbeat on the 3, 4. I didn't necessarily think you didn't understand that. I didn't feel that way, but like it will really help you feel great with your first entrance if you know exactly that's what's going on here. That's on you in this case, all right? So if you're conducting it, okay, or 1, 2, 3 is a big here, right? Some people might give all leading notes. Then it's in 3. It feels okay, That way your feet will be really secure when it's time to come in. You can predict it a little bit better, and you'll be a little more confident. You'll just be like, I got that. I wasn't early, I wasn't late, I got it. It helps your confidence in this piece, believe me. Okay, let's try this. So, conducting it, please. Okay. 1. I need you to understand that because it's going to actually play out in just your awareness of like even moving with him. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 6. Good, perfect. All right. I can't tell you how hard that is for a lot of people in this world. Like it's a problem everywhere you go. So that helps you feel like, hey, I got this. Then all that work, you have nothing blocking that first layer of access to this music because you did all this practicing. But if you get jarred by your first entrance, or it's not together, it can derail everything for a little while. Wouldn't you agree? Like if you're not really sure about that first note, you're going to feel terrible.
Even a 16th at all.
Yeah. If it's a 16 note, like oops, and you knew it, and you're processing in real time. So maximum success comes from not having to keep score in real time. Like, oh, I missed that. Yeah, oops, I missed that. Oh, dang it. If that's going on while you play, you're going to feel defeated before you ever dig deeper into a piece. Okay, so that was good. All right, so now we've cleared that up. Let's start right on that down with your first entrance. Okay. And we're going to take this way down for a moment. Right here. Now we're going to go into 8th note time. All right, so we're going to move to 8th note time. And that way you can really feel everything on the board. Okay, here we go. Right, here you come in. 1, 2, ready, play. That's important. It is kind of groove music. It sits in this really deep rhythmic field, all right? It's not kind of open-ended. The danger, though, is what? If you think of everything as always too vertical and rhythmic, what happens to your musical lines?
You're not gonna get any dynamics or like,
Yeah, you start losing the horizontal, the lines that are emerging from all of this, right? So you start getting really beat-to-beat kind of hypersensitivity to the beat. Now, so that's the opposite problem, or the new problem that can emerge from being really accountable to time, you know? Well, he does set it up, that this has to be accurate, it has to be perfect, right? But you've got to make sure that in the process of doing that, you also start thinking about your lines. So in the case of these ties, this will be an important thing as you work through this. Da 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 da. So suddenly you're thinking eighth note time, but you're shaping through all of the tied notes. Those are expressive events. Okay, so I want you for right now to think about never dying through the tie. No dies through the ties. Your sound and your energy is taking you over the bar line so that you run zero risk of clipping that tie a little early. Because if you shave off a tiny bit of that tie, what happens?
you're gonna get off.
You're off the grid. The grid, you have to imagine like a big tic-tac-toe box or something, or like a giant, 12 by 12 square. And so any little variation in your technique, something goes a little wrong, you kind of come off a note a little faster, you open a key too quickly, you don't close a key fast enough, you clip a tie a little early, your articulation, one little variation, suddenly we could have slipped off the grid. This piece doesn't allow for that. It's the only piece like it unless we were to play transcriptions of, say, Vivaldi, okay? But it's the only one like it, so that's why we learn it this way. Another piece that's similar would be Scaramouche first movement. But there's a little bit of kind of fluffing in there that's going on in time. This is about perfection and phrasing without any rubato. Okay, so here we go. We're going to play, as you do this, just for right now. I'm accounting for the note that I'm tying into by doing a slight crescendo in it. Does it make sense? So it's hard to indicate that other than to say put an arrow through the tied note. Can you try that? That would be a little, we talked about marking up your music today just now. In John Raines' talk, I mean, you mark your music up, you mark it up so much. Make sure everything is visual to you, but I will write a horizontal arrow that tells me to head through the tie point in this case. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of like a nudging of the air column, okay? Did you hear what I just did? It's like I kind of touch it. Da-da-dee-da-da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You're pushing through the downbeat. Does it make sense? Yes. 1, 2, try it. Ready and go. Nice. Now, you don't want it to become too predictable. This is a learning tool, but it's important for your energy so that there's no risk of you shaving off that time. So let's keep that tempo in place. I'm going back to 8th note pulse. Same speed, just play it. So we're gonna add Josh back into that. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, now, good. I'm glad you ran out of breath because that's just sort of another discussion. Where do you sneak in a breath, Dr. Deborah Rickmeyer talks about catch breaths. There's musical breaths that work sort of to influence and further the phrasing, and then there's catch breaths that are just your insurance policy that you're going to make it. And so sometimes catch breaths might rob a little bit from the notation. So we need to decide. And my first impression when you played for me was that
not all of your breathing was worked out in that way. I see some things marked in here, a couple of little safety breaths maybe, but I think right here early on we have to decide. So what's a good place to breathe? Probably not. Let's put it. Why we probably don't want to break that because of that double slur right there. Okay. So can you break? Maybe it's going to be there if you have to. All right. Oh, sorry. That definitely right there. You're breaking two slides. So there's clues that tell you if slurs close on a note and one slur belongs to the previous material, or a tie and another slur belongs to the next material, he's giving you a window to break that line, right? He's giving you a chance to break that. So we're definitely going to say that one, okay? So you're essentially playing an A on an upbeat sounding like a downbeat. Dia, da, but it's dia, da, da, dia, da, da. Can you try that? We can do that because there's no slur that goes over the whole thing. Try that. Start without Josh there. Ready. Let's not, then make sure you don't reattack that. So you don't want to kill those slur lines. As you were playing this generally just now, just for me, I just felt like anything that was considered a melisma was being cut somehow. Either in the way you stopped your air, took a quick breath, or you may have articulated something that's meant to not be articulated. So we can go on forever about all of this. This piece is a lifetime of study, to come back to it and back to it and back to it. And just to teach it, every single generation has to deal with the challenges of this piece. It's never gotten easier for any generation. Some pieces in our professions, some pieces, the collective pedagogy, the cumulative pedagogy of that music makes that music become more and more and more culturally accessible. Like flute players who were raised playing Mozart flute concerto, they go through the whole lives, they hear those concepts over and over and over again. In Ibert, we have that, but we often pass through the Ibert so quickly, en route to some other piece, that we don't always just really stop and smell the roses. And whenever a student says to me, if I say, let's work on some Ibert this semester, and they're like, oh yeah, I already did that. I did that in high school, I got that one, I'm good. They tell me that, I'm like, you're wrong. And if you think you're not wrong, then I'll find a new school for you. I'm happy to write a recommendation letter for another place. So we can just unravel all of this stuff all day long. Even up to your autismal parents. Don't worry about that right now. You're in good hands with Dr. Youngblood. He's going to get you up to those autismal age. Okay, that's not a problem. You've got the makings of that happening for you. Okay, I can tell you a few things, but we're not going to make the time for that. I'm more concerned about the value system of the Ibert. And this would be true for every piece we work on. There is a value system, a cultural system of discussion for that music, And I think you working on it now is really great. It's a watershed moment for you. But I think you're going to walk away from this experience and come back to this piece a few years from now, and you're going to be like, yeah, I'm a lot better now. I'd like to try the Ibert again. And that's when we have true humility as musicians, that we'll come back to pieces and say, I kind of know, I'm wiser now. I have more life experience. I've listened to a lot more music. And boy, I probably shouldn't have been playing. Now that's not true with you at all. That's why I didn't think you were a freshman. I thought maybe you were a junior. So good for you. But I think it's time to go back to the basics with the rhythmic grits. The next time you have a chance to put up a job, there's no chance of dropping a beat, coming in early, not sure. I mean, even if you're just like, I hope this is right. Woo, it was right. Yeah, like if that's how you feel, that's not how we're supposed to be making music, right? I think you understand that, right? Great to hear you today.